come live, so I need everyone to let me know if you can hear me and if my microphone is working correctly. My meter over here says that it is, but I just want to double check. All right, everybody, welcome to the Jelly Roll Club. It is New Year's Day. Happy New Year's to everyone. It is January 1st, where I'm at, and let me just share some things. So this year, we've got a couple of things going on. We are finishing the Fruits of the Spirit quilt. So if you have not started the Fruits of the Spirit quilt, it is not too late. I'm going to show you where to find that. I've got a few projects that I've been working on that have been overdue because they were in my UFO pile. Or actually, I'm going to start calling them PhD, which is Projects Half Done. So I have a PhD in quilting, lots of them actually. And so I've been working on them, and so I'm going to hold myself accountable and share those with you. Happy New Year. This is one PhD that I just finished. And so it is completely done. It is a wall hanging, and it is quilted. And then I put a backing on it and a hand binding. So that one is now going to hang on my wall, and I'm super excited. No more PhD. The other thing that I did is I took an orphan block that I had from last year, and I turned it into a placemat. And so Penny the Penguin was our project last year for the table runner. No, that was 2023 actually. And so Penny is done, and I'm going to let my granddaughter use it when she comes over. Then I took an orphan block from my original Gnome of the Month, and I made a little wall hanging for work. So when I go back to work, this little wall hanging is going to hang on my door. And so he's all finished up. He's bound, he's pressed, he's ready for his little quilt hanger. So I was pretty excited that I got 3 little UFOs or PhDs off of my thing. And then I actually finished this jelly roll topper, and so it's ready to be quilted. So I had a bunch of blocks, and now it's a finished quilt top, and it is ready to be quilted. And so that's what I've been working on, is my PhDs, my projects half done. And then last but not least, I took a bunch of leftover half square triangles from our project, the Mystery Stars, and I made, ta-da, a jelly roll pillow. So these are all jelly roll scraps that are left over. So it uses 2 jelly rolls for the dark and 2 jelly roll strips for the light, and I made a pillow. And so we're going to be talking about pillows. So that is what you do with 4 jelly roll strips. If you have 4 strips that you like, but they're kind of orphans, you don't know what to do with them, I'll show you how to do that. All right, so let me just check. Can you guys hear my voice? All right. Can everybody hear me with this new microphone? I wasn't sure. Let me turn it up just a little bit. All right. All right, so that is what we are going to be working on. I'm going to show you all about it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about pillow inserts. All of these pillows that we're going to make this year, and you can make as many or as few as you want. I'm going to share my desktop with you. I've already made a page, and it's called the Pillow of the Month. So when you go in there, you're going to see these placeholders. These placeholders are hints as to what the pillow is going to look like. This is an actual drawing of the pillow that we're doing this month. It's called the Snowflower, but these other ones are all kind of like hints as to what the designs are going to be. So we have one for every month, and we're always going to do it the first Sunday of the month. And so it's going to be the first Sunday, and I'm going to fix all the schedules on the channel. All right, if you are new, say hello. I see Ann is brand new, and this is her first time watching. So Ann, let me tell you what we do here. So the Jelly Roll Club is a free sewing club. We are friends here, and so people can suggest projects. I work on the patterns. I work out the math. I'm the artist that does all the drawings, and then I post them on my website, and you can download them free of charge. So please subscribe so that you can see everything that's happening. And everybody say hello to Ann. All right, so today we're going to be working on the Snowflower, so let me go ahead and show you what you're going to need. So for the Snowflower, you're going to need the template, and so the handout looks like this, and it just says Snowflower, Pillow of the Month, January. I have some information here about the series and a basic supply list, and I'm going to go over what you need. This is going to be for a 16-inch pillow, and for the 16-inch pillow, you're going to be making only this center right here. So if your pillow is 16 inches, your pillow form, this is what you need right here. Now, these borders on the outside, if you wanted your pillow to be 18 inches, you would adjust these accordingly. But you could use 2.5-inch strips for this, and then that would make your pillow if you wanted to make it, 18, 20, 24 inches, however you wanted to make it. So these two borders are the adjustable elements in your pillow. If you wanted to take your center and make it slightly smaller so that you could add that framed border, please feel free to do so. All right, so I put a little image down here so that you could see what a 20, an 18, and a 16-inch pillow might look like on a traditional couch, and that's just for you. I also created a little bit of color inspiration because I love color theory, and so I think that's important. So I took my color wheel and I found anything that was on the cool side, so like a gray, a green, even a purple would be really pretty. So anything that screams winter would be great for this. Here's like a little coloring page in case you wanted to do these all different colors, so that would work too if you had scraps. And that's just an inverse. So this one is white and blue, and then this one is blue and gray. And so I just added that on there for you to look at. But anything that you see can be found on my website, which is www.jellyrollclub.com. There's some free content. I have a little snowman clip art if you wanted to add a snowman to a secondary pillow, or if you wanted to make a pillow that had just a ginormous snowflake in the middle, you can do that as well. And I see some of my friends are out there. Joyce! Hi, Joyce! Joyce is an old friend of mine from the local quilt shop. All right, let's get started. You're going to take your handout, and the first thing that I do is I love to use just whatever I have floating around the house. I use a little bit of cardstock. You can see that I just glued them onto cardstock. And I'm going to be using the following supplies, and let me just pull that to the side. I'm going to be using a water-soluble marking pen. And so this is a pencil, actually it's the correct term, not a pen, that erases with water. And I'm just going to open it here. This one's made by Dritz. I have several of these in my sewing room, but I wanted to use a fresh one for this project. But it just looks like this. And it literally says water-soluble marking pencil right on there. And so these are not expensive. You can get them online, but I love how they work for this project. So I've got my stencils. I've traced them onto cardstock, cut them out. I need a couple of sharp scissors. Maybe some small applique scissors are helpful, and then some serrated scissors for this project. I'm also going to be using just regular cotton quilting thread, nothing fancy. I like Gutermann, it works great, and it just says quilting, 100% cotton, and it's slightly thicker than regular thread, so this is like a 40 weight instead of a 50 weight. And I like this for constructing things that are going to get a lot of abuse. All right, the next thing that I'm going to use is I'm going to use some washable school glue. Just regular, plain, the kind that you get kids at school. And you can use the purple kind that disappears, it doesn't matter. I just use washable school glue. The other thing that I'm going to use for this pillow front is a pressing cloth. I just have a silicone pressing cloth. And I'm also going to be using some fusible interfacing, and that's the reason why I have the pressing cloth. So I have some fusible interfacing here, and I'm going to be using that because this is going to prevent my pillow cover from puckering. All right, so let's just look at what we've got. So then the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to use 2 squares of fabric for this, and if you do not have 2 squares that are this size, feel free to use scraps, especially for these small pieces right here for the snowflower. So these parts right here, if you don't have a full-size piece for the back of this, then don't worry about it. All right, so this is what I have. I have a blue for the front of mine, and this has been pre-washed and it has been starched. Then for my snowflower, I have this white, and it has a little bit of a metallic sheen, like a silver metallic. It looks like glistening snow, and so that's what I'm using for mine. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take my big piece, the front of my pillow, and this is larger than what I need, and the reason I'm doing that is because I'm going to give myself some wiggle room for quilting and construction. And so I'm just going to fold it in half, and this is a 17 and a half by 17 and a half inch square. You can make yours smaller if you want to make it 16 by 16, but you can use a fat quarter for the front of this. And I'm just going to fold it in fourths. So these are the folded sides, and then these are the open sides across the top. And so I'm going to need to draw 8 of these diamonds on there. And so I'm going to have 2 per quadrant, and then I'm also going to have some of these little, I guess, arms on my snowflake, and that's what I'm going to call it, right? So let me slide that over, and so I'm going to pull it up so you can see. So I'm going to share my desktop really quick. Let me shrink that, and I'm going to bring my image over so that you can see it. So I'm going to open this, and then I'm going to just go to the Jelly Roll Club, the Pillow of the Month, and I'm going to pull up the Snowflower printable. Okay, so let me make that big so you can see it. So as you can see, right, the Snowflower has these arms. So each quadrant, if I were to draw a line, were to have 2 diamonds and then 1 of those arms sticking out. And this is what I'm talking about. So because I'm going to be drawing this, I want to try to get these as evenly as possible. And if you want to make yourself some extra triangles, you can. And I'm going to do that really quick because I think it'll help me with what I'm doing. And so I'm just going to take this and I'm going to draw really quick. I use pencils in my sewing room all the time. And just draw it really quick. If you have a little triangle template that you want to use, that's fine. If you want to cut your own, if you want to draw your own sticks, if you want to cut your own using a template, that's fine. Now there's lots of ways to applique. I'm going to be doing a reverse applique for this particular project. But if you wanted to do a fusible applique on this, you could. And there's a needle turn template. So if you want to do needle turn, the template that's, the bonus template that's on the website is for those who love to needle turn. And it has the seam allowances on there. All right, so now that I have a second one, I'm going to show you where this is going to go. So I'm just going to take this right here, and I'm going to take this right there, and what I want to do is I want to space these out so that they're kind of even, like this. And then this will align going straight out, just like that. So I'm going to take this, and I'm going to take my water-soluble pencil, and I'm going to draw right on there where I want this. Now some of you guys remember, if you quilted long enough, they used to have these little sandpaper boards that you could use, and those work great for this if you have a little sandpaper board. But if you fold it into fourths, you don't really need it. All right, and so there I have it. You can see it on the dark. I drew my one thing right there. All right, so now that I have this, I'm going to go ahead and line up the second one and give it a little bit of space. And I'm going to draw that right there. Now remember, this is water soluble, so what I don't want is I don't want to spritz this with any water. And so I'm going to draw this right here. If you don't have these water-soluble pencils, you can also use a regular Crayola white colored pencil, and they work great because these come right off with the heat of your iron and don't leave any marks. So if you want to do that, you can do that as well. All right, so once I have that on there, and I know where I want that, I'm going to go ahead and draw this piece right here. And it's going to be floating kind of about, and I want to do an exact measurement. So my thumb from here to here is like 1.5 inches, and so I want a thumb's width, and so this is about 1.5 inches, and so I'm just going to line that up like this with my handy dandy tool, and I'm going to fold it so that I have a sight line. So I'm going to go like this, and that gives me a line, and then I'm going to lay this here right on that edge, and I'm going to line that up. Now once I have that, I'm going to go ahead and draw this one too. If you have a white gel pen, you can use a white gel pen because this line is going to get cut away in just a minute. Okay, so now that I have it, I'm just going to flip it around, and this doesn't take very long. This is something that you can do while watching an extra long game on TV. My husband loves to watch sports. I'm not a super sports fan, but sometimes I join him in the other room and I watch sports a little bit. But most of the time, football games are uninterrupted sewing time for me, which is kind of nice. All right. Now that I've got it, I've got my shape. Now comes the fun part. I'm going to take this and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull this open, and I'm going to take a nice sharp scissor and cut right down the middle. Just like this. And now that I've cut down the middle, I'm going to hack into this one too. I'm going to cut away everything that's inside of the white part because what I'm doing is a reverse applique. So for this, I'm just going to grab it like this, and I'm going to cut right along that white line. And yes, this is very tedious. It is, but it results in really, really beautiful reverse applique. So I'm going to take my time and I'm going to do it. All right, and this is why I said you're going to need some sharp scissors. These little spring-loaded babies also do a good job. So you're just going to take and you're going to cut away all of this stuff out of the way. Now, like I said, if you wanted to do fusible, you most certainly could do fusible. This is one method, and this is a reverse applique, and I just want to do it like this because this pillow is going to get washed a lot, and I think that reverse applique holds up better when you're going to wash a pillow a lot, because I have grand puppies and I have grandchildren, and I want to make sure that everything I make these days is super washable. Has anybody ever tried reverse applique? And if you did, what did you think about it? You can tell me that in the comments. Tell me in the chat. Like I said, it's more tedious than traditional fusible, but it has some beautiful results. All right. And there we have it. Close, snip. You have to be very careful when you use this method. All right. This is the jelly roll. I try something new for you guys all the time so you guys can see different methods for doing the same thing. Okay, so now that I'm getting to this side, I'm just going to flip it again to the inside, and I'm cutting away all of the parts that I don't need. Okay, just like that. So what I'm doing is I'm creating a hole. And this is why it helps to wash your fabric and starch it. I could have probably used a little bit more starch here, but I'm okay. And these little tiny pointy scissors are great. Reverse applique is one method that's used, and it really helps to have slightly larger shapes when you're doing this kind of stuff. But I'm going to be showing you guys a couple of different ways to do applique. But reverse applique is a fun thing. All right. Especially because I don't want to do hand work. I want to do machine work. All right. So now that I have it, I've got it right there, and now I've got the shape that I wanted. So now that I have the shape, I'm going to go ahead and cut out these two. It won't take me but a minute. So I'm going to cut from the center up, from the center down. I'm going to cut this way, and I'm going to cut across. And what I can do now is I can take and I can tuck those and finger press them. And so I'm going to take it and tuck it and finger press it. That's going to need to be a little bit smaller. But I'm just taking the seams and I'm turning them to the inside, and I'm finger pressing them along that line. And now I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. So if you're learning new things, bravo! The brain is healthy when we learn new things, right? I'm going to take and I'm going to finger press it over to the side and finger press this over to the side. And what that does is it turns the edges under. And so I'm going to do that to this one. You can put a few pins, you can use a little bit of glue, and what I do on this side is this is where I take a little bit of glue, just a smidge, and I put it down, and I'm gluing those edges just to get them out of my way. Alright, so now I got to do this one. And I'm going to show you how to do 1/4 of the block like this. All right. Straight out to that corner. Straight up to the point. Straight down to the bottom. And straight out to the other side. And you're just going to take, again, your fingers, pull them under, and finger press. And then you're going to do that again. Slide it back and finger press. And then you're going to take this, and you see how that's sticking out? It needs to be trimmed because it's a little bit too long. And so I don't want that to peep over, so I'm just going to trim it so that it doesn't get in the way of my other one. Just finger press it just like that. Add a little glue to that edge and push it down. That makes my little joint. You can always pin it as well until you get to the next step. And so some people call this cut work, but this is just reverse applique. You can prepare this with freezer paper, but I feel like it just adds another step that's unnecessary. So I don't do that unless I'm just doing circles. All right, so now that I have it, I have 1/4 of my block. Now I'm ready to put the back. So I have this beautiful fabric, right, that has the snowflowers. And I could do the entire quadrant if I wanted to. But actually what I'm going to do is I'm only going to do the sections that go just bigger than what I need. And so I'm going to look at this piece right here, and I need triangles that are slightly bigger than mine. And so I'm going to take, and I'm just going to draw with a pencil or a gel pen or a friction pen, it doesn't matter, on the back side. So this is the pretty side of my fabric, this is the wrong side. I'm just going to cut pieces that are just slightly bigger than what I need. They don't even have to be precise, just like that. They just need to be bigger than what I'm working with. Cut the excess off. This is starched very well, as you can tell. And then I'm going to place these behind my triangle. So I'm going to take this pretty side up. I'm going to put a little bit of glue on these edges. And then I'm going to lay this so that it fits inside this first triangle right here. And if it runs into the other side, it's fine. We can trim that in a second. But I just want to make sure that everything on this side is all covered up. And you can see my sparkly little snowflower is starting to bloom right there. And so there's a little bit of excess. So I'm just going to glue that down to where it's not going to interfere with the other stuff along that edge. And I'm going to leave it just like that. And now the next one, I've got it just like this. I'm going to glue those edges down. Glue this edge down. Glue that edge down. And when I drew that, I don't know if you can see that, when I folded that into fourths, it left marks on the fabric, and I can see where the other ones are going to be placed. Can you see those? So I actually have, because I used my pencil so hard, I have indentations showing me where I'm going to be laying the next ones. And then I'm going to take this pretty side down. I'm just going to make sure that I'm using glue here. And I'm going to put a little bit of glue on this, on the pretty side, and I'm going to put it face down to cover up that one right there. And now that I've got that completely covered, I'm going to trim the excess just like that. Out of that central seam, I want to keep it out of there. I'm going to trim a little bit of excess here. And now we do the last piece. So I'm going to take, and I just need to make sure that I have a piece that's slightly larger than what I need. So I'm going to take this piece, this is the pretty side, I'm going to flip it over. And I'm just going to make sure that I have a segment that is slightly bigger than what I need. And so I'm just going to go like this. Doesn't even have to be exact, it just should be bigger. Like that. Just like a big oblong shape. For some of you who are used to very precise methods of quilting, this may cause your OCD to go into overdrive. That is my fair warning. For those of you who are less of a freestyle quilter. All right, so this is the pretty side and this is the wrong side. So now I'm just going to make sure that this has glue along these edges right here. And I'm going to put the pretty side down and make sure that that's completely covered. And so this is no needle turn here. No needle turn required. And so now that I have it, voila, I am ready to start sewing. And so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to give this a press. And so this is raw edge reverse applique. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to press the heck out of it. You may also want to add a little bit of starch at this point because that helps with the next step. Flip that over. If you have something sharp like a stiletto, anything that you have in your sewing room, I use a needle, a big fat needle that I use for a lot of things. I just push that under. And I'm going to tack any loose pieces that I have because I'm going to come in as I sew them on my machine and I'm going to hold them down. And so any little threads that have gotten loose, this is a little bit of a bias, you're just going to trim those off and we're getting ready to sew this. So now that I have it, I'm going to give it a press with a little bit of starch on that. And I'm going to take my edge right here where some of my threads are coming out. And I'm going to push that down. You can take your needle and run it under there and push it and get that point exactly the way you want it. Okay. All right, so now I have this and I'm using the heat from my iron to dry it and set it. I'm going to spray it with a little bit more starch on the front side. And I'm going to put my pressing cloth down because I don't want to gum up my iron. All right. All right, so now that I have this, and I have it pressed, now I can come in and I can just kind of clean up my edges. Now, like I said, there's a template for needle turn. If you guys love needle turn and you want to do it that way, please feel free. Feel free to turn this under. I am just doing reverse applique with a raw edge. If you have a little piece that gets, when you're doing this right there, that got like a little wrinkle, I'm just going to add water, stretch it out, push it, and press it flat. Never be afraid to use a little bit of water. I have a little tip here that I want to push in, a little point, and it's looking pretty good. All right, so now that I have it, I'm going to do a little bit more cleanup. I haven't decided that I love this method. This is just a method that I saw a German quilter trying, and I've done it on big circles, but I'm not sure that I love it on this one. On a scale from 1 to 10, I give it a 6. It's a little bit fussy. All right, and so I'm just going to go in, and I'm going to clean any weird hairs, threads, or anything that I have floating around. Now that I have it, I am ready to do my final step. And so my final step is going to be to bring it over to my machine and stitch all along the edge. I could satin stitch that, or not, or I can actually use a decorative stitch. But before I do, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a little bit of interfacing to the back. And so what that will do is that will stabilize the whole thing for me. So right here in this area, I can go ahead and I can put an entire thing of fusible interfacing to the back of this before I start sewing, just to protect my fabric so that it doesn't stretch or warp or get crazy. All right, friends, but this is the method that I have decided to test out because I thought it would be a good idea. I don't know, what do you guys think? Do you think this is a good idea? Robin said, I've done reverse applique doing needle turn. Yes. Yes, I have too. But yeah, this looks like it's a very interesting method, friends. It's a little bit fussier than what I thought it was going to be. I did it with circles. I did it with freezer paper. I played around with it. But on a scale from 1 to 10, this is probably a 6.5 maybe. All right. If your machine is really good at sewing tight curves and corners, then you can go ahead and start sewing, and let me just show you what I'm going to do for this one. So I'm going to take you over to my machine. Yeah, zigzag the heck out of it? Absolutely. If you just have a straight stitch machine and you don't have a zigzagger, you can go ahead and do what I'm about to do. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm just going to lift my needle, and I have the same color in the bobbin as I do the top, and I'm just going to come in here. Can you guys see my sewing machine? I'm not out of camera range, am I? There we go. Let me move my camera so you guys can see. Can you guys see that a little bit better? All right, so over here I'm just going to drop my needle, and I'm going to be about 1/8 of an inch away from that edge, and I'm just going to drop that and stop with my needle down, and I'm going to pivot, and I'm going to be really close to that edge, as close as I can get it. I'm going to stop right there, and I'm going to come along this side, and I'm going to stop right there. I think this would be a great place if you had some like metallic or decorative thread, to use some metallic or decorative thread on this. And then drop that down. And I'm just letting my foot ride really close to that edge. And then come back to where you started. And then just, you don't even have to break thread, you can just come over to the other side. And right here, you're just going to make sure that that's tucked all the way in, that you don't see anything peeking from the other side. And then we're going to come on down. So I'm going to come here to my next piece. And I'm just going to stop at the pivot point about 1/8 of an inch away from the edge, and I'm going to pivot, and then I'm going to come around. And you're just going to want to make sure that that is tucked all the way in. I'm probably going to do a decorative stitch around this edge in order to ensure that that those edges stay down, like I said, so I can wash this. Alright, so one of the reasons why you watch this channel is because I test out all the harebrained quilting methods that are out there, and then I give you a rating on it. Alright. You ever see those cooking shows where people cook something and you're like, I just want to try that. And you try it and maybe it doesn't turn out exactly the way you thought? This is great. I like how this is turning out, but it's a lot fussier than what I thought it was going to be. All right. All right. And we keep going. Doesn't take long. Just so you can see, get an idea. All right. Just like that. We're going to come around. And you're just going to wrap around that last leg. And as long as you have glue and starch, this method works really well. I could see this going really badly if you didn't have enough starch and glue. All right, just like that. And then I'm going to stop and come around the final stretch. Now, one suggestion that I have if you're going to do this, and if you like doing free motion quilting, would be this would not be bad to finish these edges when you're quilting. So if you wanted to save yourself a step, you could always quilt and applique the edges down at the same time. All right, so now that I have it, that's one part of my snowflower. And I'm just going to come in here and clean up this extra thread that connected the last two pieces. And now I just need to sew around the edges, and so I'm going to go all the way around. I'm going to add another one of those here, and I'm going to continue adding more of these pieces on this side. And then when I am done, I will have one entire snowflower. So I will have two diamonds in each section, and then I will have one snowflower or snowflake piece sticking out, and then I will go all the way around. All right, friends, if you are going to use this method, like I said, lots of glue, lots of starch. If you want to use the freezer paper method, then you would just use these and you would trace them. They don't need to be reversed. And then you would fuse them down and then sew around like normal. Or if you want to do needle turn, you have a needle turn template. But there's the layout guide. You can see what they look like. Have some fun with this. There's the needle turn method if you want to do the needle turn method. And just tell me what you think. I'm going to be working on a snowman and a snowflake because I'm going to make a total of 3 pillows for my couch. But if you guys don't have any other questions, please let me know what you want to do next. I just want to share some stuff that I'm working on. Can you guys see that sewing machine? That is going to be part of February. And so let me just kind of share the schedule with you guys so you can see. So February, we pull up the calendar. And so it looks like that January the 5th is this coming Sunday, and I will go ahead and release the Valentine pattern templates on the website so that you guys can start working on that. And I will schedule a live stream for Sunday the 5th, and I will show you progress on my snowflower so you guys can see progress on my snowflower. That looks actually pretty good. I like how she's turning out. And then I'm also going to go ahead and drop the templates for February so that you can have your pillows made in time for Valentine's Day 2025, not 2026. All right, friends, try this method. If you don't want to try it on the snowflower, try it on some circles. I've tried it on a couple of different hearts and circles, and it looks like it's okay. This is a pattern that I'm going to be sharing with you guys. It's going to be released on the same day that I release the February block, which is on Sunday the 5th. I will see you guys on Sunday. play with fabric, clean up your sewing room like I'm going to do later on today. And if you're joining me for the Fruits of the Spirit, I think that is, let me see, Fruits of the Spirit is on January the 12th. So take a look at what I've done so far for my Fruits of the Spirit. If you're doing it, it's not too late to jump in. Just start working on your stars. Get those 16 stars done, and then you will be all caught up. All right, everybody, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful new year. My resolution is to try to use all of this scrappy fabric that I have left over in my sewing room. I'm going to try not to buy new fabric this quarter, so we will see. We'll see if I make it till tax day, April 15th, without buying new fabric. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining me. Please share the channel with other people. And if you like what you see, please give it a thumbs up and support all of the free stuff that I share with everyone. All right, friends, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your evening. Bye-bye. Thank you.